Hello and welcome to the CRO podcast with your host, myself, Courtney, and this is Will.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. We're co-founders of the CRO agency and manage the CRO network.
Yes, and today we are going to dive into the wonder of native marketing, one of the most underused lead gen channels in our opinion. And as a real treat, we have the even more wonderful Holly Whitworth, a native channel and lead gen expert. So please, Holly, say hello.
Hi, everyone. I'm Holly, and thank you very much for having me on.
We're very excited to have you. So then what we're going to do after that is we're going to look at the wall of shame and fame as always. And we're going to actually look into heat pumps. We'll take a cross section of the market, looking at a leader, rising competitor, and a good old lead generator. So let's start by actually getting to know a little bit more about Holly. So Holly, if you'd like to start, give us a little bit about you, your professional background, and please your biggest marketing pet peeve.
Okay, yeah, it took me a while to think of that one, so on to at the end. But yeah, as a brief intro to me, so I've been doing digital marketing for the last 10 years, which makes me feel really old. But yeah, straight out of uni, I joined a lead gen company called MVF, and I was there for 4 years. Did a lot of different sort of verticals, starting out in like paid surveys and then ending up in B2B of all things. And then I moved on to an e-commerce company doing direct-to-consumer marketing for like pet and beauty products, which was really fun. And then I'd moved on to my current position at another lead gen company where I started out sort of growing the native side of the business. And last year I moved into sort of management to sort of lead the marketing team. That's my career in a nutshell. So my pet
We love
peeve,
that.
because I'm excited to move on to this, is all marketing platforms, I don't know why they do this, but they like to change the rules in terms of what is and wasn't allowed, and they never forewarn you. It's like you're uploading ads one day and they suddenly just go, no, that's not allowed anymore. You're like, why? You've got to figure it out. And that's
Yeah. Mm.
100%. And it's impossible. Actually, native actually has a benefit here, is that you might actually speak to an account manager because you kind of have to have one in a lot of cases. Whereas every other channel, you try to find out why, what's changed, is like, oh, good luck. The internet is like months out of date. You got to go to like X. And like, I personally refuse to, like, at this point. Yeah, it's awful. It's very frustrating.
I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is what happens in marketing.
Yeah.
I hate
Did
that.
this
I hate
happen recently?
any kind of
Oh,
app that
mhm.
updates and it changes everything. I honestly, I think I'm just too old to. I'm not young anymore. Do you know what I mean? Is it? It's me the problem? No, it's them.
We were talking about it
Yeah.
earlier today. We use Riverside for this recording, so Riverside's great. It's
Shout out
awesome.
Riverside.
Whoop.
Yeah.
But they changed everything about it recently, and we were not pleased with that. So please don't do that again. Like, we get it, AI's here, we're super thrilled about it. Just stop it. Like, stop shipping features.
Yeah, truly. But no, absolutely valid question. Has that happened to you recently?
I mean, like, not super recently, but like what they've been doing recently with like hearing aids, they're like, oh, you now need like permission to run this product at all. I'm like, that's new. Thank you for that.
Wow.
So
A
yeah,
heads up would have been cool there. Like, years of learning of the account. It's like, oh, goodbye.
I know. Fun.
Ugh,
Yeah,
I
that
still
seems
think
like a
Meta's the worst for
massive
that.
faux pas. Yeah, like how are they not forewarning? Like that's going to disrupt so many companies and their business and cause so much like stress for everybody involved instead of just being like, hey, just by the way, you're gonna actually need permission. So probably get that. Just get
Yeah,
that and then continue. But
yeah. Here's 30-day warning. Get to
yeah,
know your clients. Great, I can do that. But no, it's fine. Shout out to
yeah,
all the marketing channels out there, you guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know who you
Be
are.
better.
Yeah.
It's deeply threatening, though. I love that. We know where you are, more importantly.
That's the snippet we'll use on LinkedIn as well. Just be better.
Please do.
Yeah.
Every chatter out there.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So we've already begun singing the virtues of native and the fact that you might actually speak to a human, which, wow. What? I mean, who knows? Nowadays,
In this
maybe
day
they're
and
just a
age.
chatbot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But can you tell us a little bit more about the native channels, Holly? And maybe then lead on to why you think it's such a good channel, or why not, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, just in case people aren't familiar with native advertising and what we're talking about. So native advertising, it kind of refers to the adverts itself, but also kind of a way of marketing. So
Mm,
typically, it's more about like the placement. So you'll find native ads on like news websites or like blog posts, basically long form written content. And the ads will appear intermixed with other actual real content, usually in sections that are like more for you or like related articles. So you'll get like real article and then you'll get an ad. So the native terminology comes from the fact that you kind of blend in a little bit. So native
mm,
ads are not always obviously an advert at first, which is a really good thing because people hate ads, right? So people don't like engaging with ads if they know it's an ad. So when you come across something that isn't obviously an ad, you give it the time of day. And also you accidentally get a little bit more kind of credibility because if you're on like a news website and it's kind of like an article, people are going to be more willing to kind of be like, oh, okay, I'm going to listen to what you have to say, which is great. And then the reason I say that it kind of relates to like a marketing tactic as well is that you can do native style ads on like Meta and Google. It's kind of be sympathetic to your surroundings, basically. So kind of think about it being authentic. So user generated content is a really big feature of like native advertising, but you can use it
mm,
on other channels as well. Um, so yeah, that's kind of touching on what it is and also a little bit about why it's helpful. But I think the real big benefit that people can often mistake is not a benefit. Obviously Google and Meta, people have more of a purchase intent, and Google and Meta know a lot about you, right? So they can easily put ads in front of people who have a high purchase intent. On native, one of the downsides is that the platforms don't know as much about their users. You're kind of a stranger to them. So they can't really be like, I know this person is interested in this, here's an ad related to it. Um, so there is kind of lower intent that side. But what it does mean is the benefit, as I see it, is that you get to educate and persuade that user. So instead of putting an advert in front of somebody who is like, thinks they know everything about your product and kind of, might be ready to purchase, you can kind of draw in people who aren't familiar or kind of are thinking about it or maybe like aren't even aware at all. And you can kind of educate them really richly and deeply and like really
mm,
advocate for, like the product benefits, and that user might actually be really then invested in your product or service when on Meta, because they had an interest in something and the algorithm thought they would like it, they might not be the same. So turning a negative into a positive there. um and yeah, it's another really good channel just from the kind of practical side of things in that it is cheaper. Um, so yeah,
yeah.
we'll have high CPMs, high CPCs. So yeah, native does have cheaper CPCs. So if want more bang for your buck, it's a really good testing ground, and also like it is really great in terms of scale. So the reach is slightly less, I would say, than like something like Meta, but it is still really, really high, especially obviously in places like UK, US. You've got so many different like channels that you can go on, so many different websites you can appear on. So it's really good in terms of getting yourself some extra scale as well.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I think that's why we very much see it as an underused channel. It is cheap, it is really high scale, and the quality is pretty good as a whole. And as you mentioned, I think bang on, really, really important point there. It's like you are finding this much more generic, broader traffic that you may not be targeting elsewhere. And just, because of the nature of people who are on these websites where this is thing, it's like quite an older audience, and you get the opportunity to persuade them. And, that's something we will talk much more about in a minute. Like how to write this advertorial and like how native works, because it does not work like Facebook. As you mentioned, you've got higher intent traffic on Facebook, and you just want them to convert. Native, you've got to really sell it to them. And so if you know what you're doing, I mean, you can do incredibly, incredibly well on it, and you can access traffic that nobody else is accessing. Which that a lot, some of the most. I think nowadays everyone's aware that lead gen is quite bloated. The barriers to entry to get into it are increasingly coming down. This is driving
Mm.
CPMs up. I'm sure Facebook is thrilled about it,
Oh.
and particularly on very high competition verticals. And Google, like, I mean, who even advertises on PPC anymore if you're lead gen? Because like it's just too much competition. Native, it's like the unexplored holiday location, or like people are still going there, but For some reason they don't really want to
That's
go.
a good way to
It's great.
describe it.
Yeah, like
Like that.
it's Thailand like 30 years
Yeah,
ago.
soon there's
I don't know.
soon there's gonna be rubbish on that beach too.
Soon it's gonna be trash. So like, get in there and add your trash there.
Yeah, get in while it's good, guys. Get in while it's good. Yeah, I think that is really interesting. I think it's interesting to be able to take that kind of negative and to see that in more of like a positive light. And I think it's definitely so much more sort of interesting in the power of persuasion that one can have, and then understanding how you can actually get potential customers from that point of like literally have no idea who you are and what you're offering up until that selling point, or even just becoming that lead and just converting on that. I think that's a really interesting thing, and there's so much that comes into like psychology of that as well, isn't there? Like what you're writing, where you're putting things, all the whole kind of thing. It's super super interesting. I think
It
advertorial
is.
tests are quite interesting. I think, and
This is a.
yeah, not always what you expect for sure. Humbling.
I think this is.
That's probably the best word I would use. Humbling.
What I think is so interesting is we often extol, and we do regularly on this podcast, extol like you are not trying to persuade your user to convert. You are making it as easy as possible, and you are doing risk management more than anything. You are just like removing the potential concerns from their user journey, which often means less is more. However, that is particularly true for higher intent traffic because, like, that unfortunately is like the dominant amount of traffic that people get. And that's like where a lot of this, core best practice and CRO theory and all this stuff kind of comes from. Whereas native really flips it on its head. Like, as you mentioned, like you are there to persuade this person. Like they've just been reading an article about why insert football team or insert, outrageous thing has been doing whatever. And now they're like, oh, let's, I can get hearing aids. Oh, what? Oh. And, it is such a completely different beast.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. And it's, as part of why I think we, find it so particularly interesting because it gives a really powerful insight into like how, things aren't blanketly true. You have to test, you have to like, look at the context. I mean, it's in the title, I guess it's native. You've got to be sympathetic to the context in which it's happening. And it's such a great example. People are sleeping on it. More people should do it. Yeah. And final note I will mention, or side point I will raise / ask more about. You mentioned you used to run it for B2B way back in the day, which is how broad this channel can go, which is fascinating. What's your thoughts on it for B2B?
B2B is its own beast. So it's like practice that I can tell you for like e-com, like lead gen for B2C, B2B, ignore it all. So yeah, the B2B audience on native is very different. You have to firstly find them. So you have to be a bit more creative in terms of like thinking about what ad network you're appearing on and also what publishers, like people who are reading like, blogs on lifestyle, retirement planning, they're probably not your audience, right? But like the Financial Times, yes, please, right? So you've got to be more creative on that side of things. And they will just act a bit more like the high intent audiences that you see on Meta, actually. So you can get away with like tone of voice being much more informational. You don't need to be as persuasive. You can even go straight to form. It's amazing. So yeah, it's a very different world in B2B.
It's just so interesting, isn't it? And I think it's an important point just vaguely to mention for people out there. Like, generally speaking, native kicks ass on B2C and e-commerce, you mentioned. B2B, it is harder to make work. It can make work, but there are probably, that's incremental value. That if you don't, maybe that's not a fair assessment, but I would personally put it under incremental value for B2B, which is good diversification. But yeah.
It's also, you can think about it as a way as like, I know we kind of think of like native, Meta, Google in their own silos, but like if you think it's all kind of one ecosystem, like you can obviously like retarget and remarket to people across those channels. Like you can find somebody on Meta but capture them when they're in that, ready to digest information point with native, or vice versa, educate them on native. They read that article, they didn't convert, you go find them on Meta. So it can be seen like that as well.
I think that's actually such a good point because again, we don't a lot of lead gen is siloed and channels have clear target. It is, and it's siloed for a relatively good reason. I remember when I first moved to lead gen, my first thing, I was like in an interview And I was like, they were like, oh, like, analyze his channels and like tell me about why you think we're running these different ones. And I fully assumed it was like a coherent ecosystem where like you did awareness on that one and education on native. Facebook was like, pushing, but also like a bit of both. And then Google's where you actually capture the traffic. Because like I came from like a big old marketing agency. And I was fascinated to find out like I was complete. They were like, no, they're like, no, like we run these and they are all for one point, which is to generate leads. Like, love it. Tell me more.
Yeah.
Genuinely fascinating, but it's important because it is also true. If you take that broader view and do some good marketing attribution modeling, which we haven't talked about on this podcast ever, which
No,
is
never
pretty fair
actually.
because
That's
it's
a good point.
quite complicated, but it's
Yeah.
fine. You do it a lot for like offline advertising because you can't actually attribute it, so you've got to guess. That's what this means. That's why we
No.
don't trust it in performance, really. We're like, no, you're just guessing how much this is. You can run some good experiments, but anyway, there are lots of people that do success here. I'm sure they're good at it, but yeah, it's a different discipline. Stunning. Courtney, do you want to follow up on the next area?
Yeah, I think we
Before we get too
digress. So
segued.
let's before we digress too much. I think this is a really interesting thing, and this is something that I just love as like a topic is writing a good advertorial. I would see that as probably sort of like one of the most daunting parts sort of like launching native for others because yeah, as we've already talked about, like just being able to understand what I need to put in that information, how I'm educating these people, how I'm being persuasive, what bits need to be where, and all of that. Um, do you have any insights on that? Do you have any opinions, thoughts, feelings, emotions?
I have many.
Please, we
have
would
'em.
love to hear them. The laundry list.
Thing is, where are you advertising? So different native channels will have different, basically what you are and aren't allowed to say. So if you're on something like Microsoft, they are very, very strict about what you're allowed to say, which is basically nothing. So you can't really go too sensational. You have to play it very informational, very factual. You can only have like really boring CTAs. But if you're on something like Rev content, have fun, go wild. And then like Bula and Outbrain kind of sit in the middle where like you can still, add a bit of pizzazz, but you can't go too wild. So that's going to dictate what you can say first and foremost. And then after that, so again, it will then depend if you're going down an e-com route or if you're going down a lead gen route. But for e-com, it sounds counterintuitive, but more is more. You want to be able to write a really long form article. Not everyone can necessarily read it all, but basically you need to give the people information. Lead gen, you don't have to do that as much. You can keep it a lot shorter. You can still provide information, but you're going to have to accept people probably won't read it. I'm sure it's probably come up many times on this podcast that, anything above the fold is kind of, people will see it, but below is a battleground, right? So yeah, anything on that headline is basically going to dictate if people are going to bother to scroll and read what you have to say or if they're not. So, I mean, I can talk about the body of the text, but I can also talk about the ads here because I think it kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So one trick to getting native to work, obviously, you don't know anything about these people. They don't know anything about you, and you have to persuade them. So don't give it all away in the ad headline, guys. You want to create curiosity in your ads. You want to give people a reason to click on that ad and read. So think about that when you're kind of building what you want to say in your advertorial. You want to be like, let's just pick a random example, like a beauty product. Let's say it's anti-wrinkle cream. That's popular. In the ads, you kind of want to be like, doctors have advised that you do this. Like, so you're not giving them the answer, but you're giving them a hint that if you click and you read, you're gonna get the answer. So that's the sort of vibe you want to make with your ads. So then on your advertorial page, in the headline or at first glimpse somewhere at the top there, you want to kind of hint again at that same vibe. If you align it, great. If it's kind of like adding, that also works. So it can either be, the doctors say do this if you have wrinkles. They could be like, doctor's discovery, this is like the best anti-wrinkle thing and you never knew. Like, it's adding to what you've said. It's in line because you're still referencing like the doctor, you're still saying there's a solution, but you've still not said what it is. It forces people to be like, well, I'm going to have to read to find what it is. Or like if, for example, if your headline's like, oh, how much does it cost to do XYZ? And then like on your landing page, you're like, oh, you can get this discount. It lines up without necessarily being a repetition, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
And then in the actual like what you need to write and where, first big tip is that people are lazy. People don't like to read. So you want to make it digestible and easy for people. Like don't write like a long ass paragraph. Like have headings, use text decoration, use bullet points, like make it easier for people to navigate, and it also just makes it less intimidating, right? But the one thing I did learn very early in my career is people read in what we call an F shape. So like you'll kind of scan a headline and then you'll read down to pick out any keywords before you justify reading the rest of that sentence. So a top tip when you're crafting your copy is make sure any key words or phrases are actually at the front of the sentence. You don't want it to be at the back end of the sentence because people's eyes are never going to get there in the first place. So bear that in mind in the structure. In terms of the actual like content. So my psychology degree taught me people make decisions with emotions first, and then they use logic after to justify it, basically. So the opening section of any advertorial really should be playing to that emotion first. So that either is you're talking about the problem that you're trying to solve and how annoying it is, or how bad it is, how frustrating it is, and then you're like, but everything changed. Or you can focus on like the positives of kind of being like, oh, my life is now so amazing, this is so much better. Whichever emotion you want. Psychologically speaking, the negative is more salient to human beings, so you probably want to do that. But yeah, that's how I would open it. And then you kind of want to move on to like the discovery, or like the kind of more logic. Like, here's the actual benefit. And then you want to kind of, as you move through the page, basically more and more people realistically are going to drop off, right? People that read through it are actually more skeptical. So someone who makes it all the way to the bottom is more resistant to purchasing or signing up than someone who's probably at the top of your page. So that means as you go further down into the copy, you can become a bit more like, not aggressive, sensational maybe. So like, you can then start introducing those like time sensitive CTAs, for example, or you can use more trust signals. So like don't introduce maybe like reviews at the top of the page. That makes more sense to put it towards the bottom of the page because people need convincing, they need more of that evidence.
Mm.
That
I
was
love that
absolutely
F-shaped thing.
fascinating.
Yeah. It's like the front of the sentence is like the above the fold. Keep it interesting, and then
Yeah.
otherwise just go. No, that is quite interesting, and I love that. There's so much psychology that goes into it. Humans are just so we're all just the same, aren't we? And we're just all like we're so predictable. We can our own humanity can be used against us in the simplest ways of just having an interesting word at the beginning of a sentence. Like
Brilliant.
Honestly, if you read a book called Nudge, you will realize
I've actually started that based on your recommendation. Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Super
Yeah,
interesting.
I know.
Definitely. And I mean, every single thing, like, a part of that is just like you can't do anything without influence. Like no matter what you do, no matter how you put something onto a page, it's going to have influence, whether you want it to or not. It's just you can't have anything devoid of that. So yeah. And that's why it's quite yeah. Anyway, I could talk about that for ages, but I digress.
Please.
I digress.
I mean, genuinely, thank you so much for kind of laying that out. I think that was a proper masterclass.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people have paid a lot more money for very, very poor content when you just boiled that down in like 5 minutes. Genuinely, that was fantastic. I have a fair few follow-on questions, if you don't mind. I mean, so many things. I wrote down a few notes. In fact, I guess you kind of answered a lot of them. I will say there's a clear similarity with one of the concepts we use a lot, which is in for a penny, in for a pound. Like, i.e., like boiling the frog as another way of describing it. Whereas, like,
I
that
don't like
leading
that
them
one,
on with
though.
like curiosity, like a little bit like breadcrumbing it through the journey rather than everything up front. It's like you don't want to like give everybody everything at the beginning. It's just like make them work, and it's something that holds true in a lot of cases. I think it's just like how human brains work. And then you mentioned, I guess you mentioned at the beginning there was two kind of versions, like the e-commerce and the lead gen one, and then I think you mentioned for the e-commerce you do really long ones, then for lead gen you can do like this more simple structure. Do you think there's a lot of overlap in the way you write those content, or like if in lead e-com, would you remain a lot less sensationalist or like more factual as you go down? Or are there any other key differences? Because again, I think e-commerce I don't think I've ever personally run it, and I think I really don't see why not. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most successful ecom, it does tend to be emotional throughout. So like
Mm,
you never get away from that. That's why the kind of first person narrative is usually really powerful, because you can kind of flish it with like a lot of like, and I felt this, and then I discovered this, and it hits home really nicely at kind of like each point. Um, with like the lead
this is
gen side of
great.
things, obviously, like you can't really do that. So the lead gen, you can lean a little bit more like on that, like more informational, more kind
Mm,
of like third party neutral tone of voice, because
Mm,
in lead gen, you're kind of being like, we can give you something if you give us something in return. It's kind of it. I know that it's literally what e-commerce is. It is transactional, but like
yep.
there's so much more storytelling behind it rather than just like can I have your email, please? Do you know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
Boarding lead gen down to this web.
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
we please have your email and phone number? Actually, turns out yes, we will also
Please,
need that.
sir.
I'm not wrong.
You know.
But yeah, like for Legion, I'd kind of you can still start with like, so for example, like hearing aids. We mentioned it already a couple of times. Like you can highlight the kind of the struggle of hearing and how frustrating it can be. That's quite easy to do in like a couple of sentences, and
Mm,
then you can very quickly move on to kind of like, well, you can solve that really easily at no cost to you.
yeah.
Cool. So
Just
Yeah.
it's
just
quite easy.
give us your email and, we'll get that all out sorted,
Yeah.
done, easy,
Exactly. Yeah.
in the bag.
Yeah.
Gotta
So I
love
think
lead gen.
people will find it harder to give away their card information and actual money than their
Yeah.
details, right? So
Mm,
you don't need as much convincing on the lead gen side, because it's kind of like, hey, just yeah, it's fine. And then
Yeah.
when we're like,
Yeah.
I want your card number. It's different.
I
Yeah,
absolutely love
definitely.
it.
I mean,
Um,
people are still so cagey with their details anyway, but I guess, yeah, card number is something. The amount of times I have put something in my little basket and then I have noped out at kind of like the payment thing is criminal. Honestly, they must hate me. It's probably why my emails are full of spam, to be fair. Like they found me somehow. But to be fair, yeah, that's one of those things. That is a huge hurdle to get over. So you need to
mm,
be convinced to be able to actually commit to that, to be fair.
yeah. Wow. I mean, originally the whole idea of the podcast, like for lead gen and whatnot, but particularly in CRO, loads of people run ecom. Like it's a major, major, major part of CRO that we don't talk about huge amounts. So, any
Mm.
CRO experts listening out there, sounds like we just got a recommendation for your client. Let's run some native. My God, absolutely love it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. I have to ask one other question regarding that before we move on, though. Do you have a favorite headline?
Mm.
Or headline. So, I mean,
Oh.
there used to be a classic headline way back in the day, which I don't know if it's still the headline, but
Well, are we talking for Legion or for ecom here?
do both, please. I'd love
No.
it.
Mm.
I don't think I could do it for ecom, because there's so many different ways that you can go about with ecom. I mean, haven't said it. I can't believe I haven't said it, but like the reason I think that native's so powerful for ecom is because you can write 5 different articles hitting 5 different pain points, like targeting different audiences, different benefits of your product, and you can scale your activity by 5 times because you've got 5 different angles. So
Mm.
it might be hard to do this exercise for ecom.
I
Um,
love this.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely going to try native for
Yeah.
ecom. Like, this is brilliant.
I don't, yeah.
Mhm.
Underutilized. But yeah, no, for lead gen, there's usually like a lot of like, you didn't know you were kind of overpaying vibes in the headline, or like, oh, there's usually like Brits are flocking towards these
Yeah.
solar panels in like, the people like the rushing. People love putting those in headlines. I don't know why.
I
Mm.
I believe it is sweeping the nation.
But
If you
Yeah.
that is not a
that
classic. It's true.
just I remember whenever I was trying to think of like a native headline, my first thought was like, I'm just gonna go read the Daily Mail and then I'm gonna go think of a headline, because like they have the headlines down pat. Like we're basically that's what you want for a lead gen advertorial headline. Yeah. And needless to say, they will
Sweeping
be
the
sweeping the
nation.
nation. Like,
Yeah.
Taking the
you guys
UK by
that
storm.
yeah.
Oh my god, by
Brits
storm, yeah.
can't believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard. That's great. Yeah, like it's hard to believe, is it? Oh, I'm gonna try and believe it.
Oh, I sure as okay. I love it. Absolutely love it. Also, a couple quick notes because we covered a couple of things which people may not be familiar with. We mentioned the channels/platforms through which you do native, which is Taboola and Outbrain, which are probably the largest ones, and probably the ones which, if you're new to this, probably start there. But yeah, Amazon, Dynamo, Apple, which I don't think we mentioned here, and then Amazon is the Microsoft one, which you have to be quite specific about. Is that correct?
Yeah, so Microsoft's owned and operated native channel and get you access to MSN, but you can get access to MSN on Outbrain, Taboola, and MediaGo or Baidu, however you want to call it. Apple News is also now available on Taboola, so you wouldn't go to Apple exclusively anymore. Same with Yahoo. They used to be their own thing, and now they're under Taboola. Newsbreak is another really big one, only in the US though, but it's very good for like lots of local news sites. So if you're kind of like more of a regional advertiser, that's a really good one to go for. You've got other ones like MGID, Rev Content as well. So there's a lot to choose from. There's a whole world out there.
Love, absolutely. I mean, again, it's so good for incremental traffic that other people aren't. People are targeting, but just like not compare it to Facebook, where like everyone and their mother, like it is so competitive and it is effective. It's a good channel, but it's just a whole different ballpark. That's why lead gens, eventually get on it, and be cool. Okay. Obviously, writing the article is part of the battle. Seems like we slayed that dragon. My God. But
Be gone.
how do you actually like get it out into the real world? Like, is it quite difficult? I mean, is there tracking stuff that we need to be aware of? How do we we've written the content. I've got a Google Doc of it. How do I now make that a reality? Or what's the easy ways?
Yeah, I think because the advertorial is basically designed to be purely informational. So you don't really need to do anything too complicated on the tech side. Like, you're not integrated like, payment methods or things like that. So you can actually like host it in lots of different ways. Like if you're not super into tech or like if you're in a small team and you don't have like a lot of resource, AI, absolutely fine, like lovable kind of thing, that will be enough. But like things like WordPress or like Heyflow, very like commonly used ways to create pages. They're also great, very easy for like drag and drop, and you're not a coder. But yeah, generally speaking, I'd always try and get someone with a tech mindset, a developer, to make good pages, because tracking is not essential, but it is really helpful. So if you're looking at the broader user journey to understand, are people getting on the article and then no further, versus is like everybody racing through the article and then like coming up short later in the funnel. So you will need to implement some tracking codes in there. So if you're not a tech person, you still might need one, but if you didn't do that, obviously it's not the end of the world, but you would be missing out on data.
Yeah. And is that data that you could surface in the platforms themselves, or would you then pull them out elsewhere?
So I'm quite lazy. I like to use the marketing platforms themselves, because
Efficient.
if they're efficient, thank you. But it's because if you're in marketing platforms as well, then the marketing platforms can use that data. So you can set like page view events like in Taboola, in Outbrain, in MediaGo, and then their algorithms can use that, and you can create extra events based on that. So you can be like, hey, retarget these people who read my article but didn't convert. So if you do it in platform, it just gives you the ability to do something with that information. Obviously using things like, GA, also still super, super helpful, but you then have to go and take action elsewhere outside of that platform. So save yourself the hassle, guys.
Absolutely love it. No, that's awesome. Right. I think we've got one more question on the advertorial, and then Courtney, over to you.
Yeah. Top tips and favorite ways to optimize. We are all about optimization here, so we'd love to hear that.
No, I mean, the first top tip is please get yourself a copywriter. Like, I know we all want to sit here and be like, I can write an amazing article. You probably can't. I'm so sorry to break it to you. I have to face myself. But Honestly, getting a copywriter who has a specific skill set in writing copy and persuasive copy for advertising, it will go a long, long way into making sure that your advertorials work for you. And then the other thing, I mean, I already mentioned it, is like testing those different angles. The most efficient way of doing it is if you have like, I guess I'm going to call it a body where like you've got the classic benefits and like you're, tackling the issues that people might raise and then CTAs, etc. But that top bit, switch it up. If you do like, 5, 10, how many other variations you want, and that's when you're targeting a different person, a different pain point, you save yourself a lot of the work by not having to change everything underneath it, but you're still then testing the most influential part of the advertorial. But otherwise, in terms of actually optimizing it, you can treat it quite a lot like any other CRO project. Like you want it to be as easy for people to navigate and to like click through. You want things to be signposted. I think the one big optimization I think that people maybe don't utilize, especially if you're coming in e-com, the CTAs, like just one big button, it might work, but you could probably make it work a lot better. People love options, especially on
Mm,
advertorial. Like I've seen like lists of zip codes on advertorials and people go wild. They love it. Like
they
you
do.
give many options. Why? So yeah, like years of birth, things like that. Like people love to have options to read through on clicking. So that would be another top tip on like with CTAs.
Mm,
Don't be afraid to have more than one at the same place. You'll be all right. Um, and then another bit of advice is usually just test it. Like I know people love to be like, oh, I want to make this look pretty and like I think this is gonna work. Like some of the best wins I've had are from my days that are like I've just kind of come up with all the blue. I haven't properly like I've not made it look pretty kind of thing, but I've just tested it and it's worked. Like you don't have
mm.
to make it super like branded and slick, but just test the idea. You'll get some results, and if it fails, you get some learnings.
Yeah, 100%. I think, yeah, put my name to that one for sure. Love that. But yeah, the zip code thing, like the postcode. Oh my goodness, sometimes it's like it's just a wall of numbers. I feel like everyone's like, "Oh, it's a fun game. I get to find where my one is and then I get to click it, you know?" Oh, it's so funny, but it's so
And
effective. It's so
yeah.
effective.
It is. I mean, you do have to be, I guess, a bit more sensitive in terms of like the devices. Like desktop,
Mm,
absolutely go up. Mobile, maybe like think about it. Like if you've got
bucket it a little bit more.
like
Yeah.
I like to think about imagine that you've got some like kind of like overweight middle-aged man trying to like click on these small buttons. It's not going to work, right? So think about it from an accessibility perspective, I guess. That's actually another good bit of advice
Yeah.
writing the advertorial. Like think about it on mobile, because when people write, they have a tendency to write big paragraphs, and on a mobile that will take up a lot of your screen and people will be like, oh, I don't want to read it. So
Mhm.
try and like break down your paragraphs. Like you'll see a lot of successful advertorials have like one sentence or like two sentences and then it'll be another one. That is because it's mobile first design. So yeah, do bear that in mind, guys.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely.
Nope. Love that. And I will
Yeah.
mention, I think we did a whole podcast on it last episode about having the same CTA is usually best. But again, I saw, so that I should actually re-clarify that not the same CTA, the same user journey, which again, actually in this case, they are all the same user journey because they all drive towards the same thing. But again, in this case, it is very different because you're looking to persuade people, like you're looking for different entry points in different ways that it's going to fit into their brain to get them to that next stage and like, basically generate that intent from very little.
Mm.
So like, honestly, I think it's absolutely fascinating. And yeah, I mean, that was, I also actually, I will also mention one thing which you have touched on a couple of times a little bit, which is publishers. Like I love how you like the actual, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the bones of how you, when you actually go about like which channels to be one, go about optimizing your native performance. You often look at where, you would running your ad, the publishers themselves, and then like you blacklist some of them, and yada, like that's a key part of the thing. So if you're going to do it, just be sure you keep an eye on that. Or
Oh,
it's holding.
yeah. I mean, account managers, again, the benefit of native advertising, we mentioned you get a human being to help you. They will have like blacklists of certain things, or like they have like whitelists of like premium publishers. Like you don't necessarily have to worry too much about the whitelisting, but yeah, a lot of times you get like these kind of viral like news websites or like in-app or like game kind of sites
Mm,
that
Mm.
they have a really high CTR, and then like you get so much spend on them, but because people are like, sometimes they're in-game incentivized, so like the game will be like incentivizing people to click, so then people are clicking on your ads with no intent of going through your form, and then you just waste a load of money. So yeah, get a list
Ugh.
and block them from the get-go.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, sensible.
Stunning. We are a little bit short on time, but I would love a very so we are we want to leave some time for the other bit, but I would actually really love to hear from your side. You are a really really experienced manager, people manager, very successful at it. In our view, do you have any key tips or principles that you have that have guided you well in this area? Because I think it's an important skill that anyone who does lead gen or wants to do their own lead gen will have to acquire.
Yeah, I mean, I think collaboration is always really key. Like with my team, like we don't really, as a company, we don't really like hierarchies. We're kind of horizontals. Like we are just a team collaborating, sharing ideas, giving each other feedback, working together on those things. And then it helps a lot in terms of that kind of cross-pollination almost between marketing channels, because you kind of want to avoid silos. Like I found it's been really helpful when like, you're talking about a particular issue and like Google's like, well, I can solve it in this way. And you're like, I don't think I can do that on native, but how could I go about doing that so I achieve the same results? So it can kind of ideas, or even just raising questions, and it turns out, oh, you could do it, but you didn't realize it was there. Another thing that I really love is a principle called extreme ownership. That actually comes from like the army, but basically, like as a manager, you take ownership over everything. And it just basically means that like let's say something went wrong, or like there was an issue, you kind of go as a manager like, okay, how could I have like made that better? Like how could I have communicated better, or how could I have distributed or delegated better? Like you kind of view it from that lens, so you don't then end up kind of being like to your team like, well, that was your fault. You kind of go, okay, how could I have done it? And I think teams really appreciate that, because it's not kind of like a management versus the team. It's kind of like a, okay, I can see this.
There's like actual leadership. I think a part of a leader is actually doing and taking responsibility for that. And, they're going to sacrifice themselves for their team, basically. That's,
Exactly.
I think, how I would see a leader. And I think that's part of that, because there's nothing worse than a manager who just throws you under the bus,
Oh my God, yeah.
you
No.
know? Oh, I could.
We can't name names. We're not allowed. We are not allowed.
But yeah, it's just a terrible play. It's a terrible thing to do. So to have a manager that actually is, like taking on the responsibility and doing all of that is ideal. It's what we all want.
You practice what you preach as well, and like your team will pick up on that as like the standard. Then like they will be then less afraid to be like, hey, I've made this mistake, this is what I'm doing about it. Like it will just kind of perpetuate.
Yeah, that's so good. It's so much better than kind of like, rules for thee and not for me
Yeah.
thing. Or like parents, do what I say, not what I do. Oh, I love
Thank
that.
you.
That's amazing. Yes, thank you so much. There has been so much insight and so many good bits and pieces and nuggets of information. I think everyone's really going to have that's very valuable information, I think.
Yeah.
You're very welcome. I'm glad I could be helpful.
No, honestly, I'm genuinely, we have personally already derived a lot of value from it. So thank you so much for your time. Irregardless. Yeah, really, really cool. Right. I mean, this part. Okay, we only have 15 minutes. We got 3 people. We're gonna have to be a little bit briefer than usual. So we're gonna be terse with them, even more terse than usual. The Wall of Shame and Fame, heat pumps, classically increasingly classically gen vertical, up and coming up there was solar. There are governmental grants, and nearly all, but not, actually I probably should have checked, but nearly all these pages, I'm pretty sure they were running governmental grant angles. Not necessarily, I'm not 100% sure, but it was there. These are from PPC as well, just FYI. And these are on some very expensive PPC terms. So do they make good use of this traffic? I mean, this is like, they're like, this traffic, like, do not mess around. You will spend all your money on this traffic if you're not careful. Alrighty, so the first one we're going to look at is Drumroll, please. British Gas. Let's look at.
I was going to
where's
try and do a drum roll, but I can't do it.
No, I realized like we do not have time for
Nothing
this.
else going on the table yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have spent probably like I mean, this is probably a $5. Let's click. Like this is
Yeah.
a.
Okay. I was like, now I can see
I
it.
know. Right. So first off, accept all cookies. I mean, that's a bit. But okay, we eat cookies.
I'm
Right.
so sick of those pop-ups. I wish there was
I
like a button
know.
where I could just. There is not a cookie I've ever not accepted. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Just anyway.
Yeah.
Just a boomer gripe. Okay.
I mean,
I don't hate it at all. Like,
no.
to be fair, I have a picture. I know exactly what it is. I've
Yeah.
got heat pump in the headline, and I have one
Yeah.
CTA.
Yeah. Although
Yeah, I mean-
technically another one up here, which but so yeah.
We're
Holly?
sort of ignoring that.
My perspective, again, just looking at the copy side, like as a user, go greener is not really the main motivating factor. It's, let's be honest, we want to save money, save our energy bills. So strong proposal.
I love this
Yeah.
because we look at it from a very structural point of view and like the way the
Mhm.
information is presented and like whereas you're completely right. That's a bang on point. Like we're not going. I mean, like sure, some people are going greener. Why not? But like no, like it is rocketingly hot outside. I'd like some aircon.
Mhm.
How do I make that happen without making a lot of whatever? Cool. Shrink your carbon footprint. Also, you're right. It's terrible.
I mean, that could be bullet pointed out because that is, I mean, it's not even that much, but to be fair, it's still just give me the information quicker.
Get an online estimate. Don't hate that. I think it's fine. I don't like that there's competing one up there, but oh yeah. Why upgrade with
Yeah.
British Gas? I mean, pretty reasonable. Fine.
That's all right. I don't mind that.
Get your heat pumps.
I like 4 simple steps. That's cute.
Yeah, I do like nice
1, 2,
how it
3.
works. Honestly,
look at that.
I
Yeah.
mean, wow, we've actually
I'm not actually hating
found
this at all.
this might be the first. Well, arguably the first like legacy player that we have actually really appreciated the we have not let it on mobile yet though, so we reserve the right to be mean. This is cool warranty stuff, again, human faces but also being a bit silly. I don't mind that there's no social proof because I'll be honest with the British Gas, I've seen their ads.
Yeah,
like they it's a I'm sure they've got some somewhere. I don't know if that's fine.
Different payment
Warm home
options.
promise. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we get to some
There we
more.
go.
Yeah. I
So
don't
at this
really.
point, we're deep.
Yeah, and I will say I don't like the generic Trustpilot module. So this is like a embedded iframe that you do because it's like Trustpilot tech. It doesn't stand out. While like it is more trustworthy in some ways, I like human face. Like I think you can put more effort into them, repurpose them in a better way that affects people more in a more genuine, more effectively, really. Faces and before and afters and case studies, or like very very short ones. I think this is quite lazy. But again, I mean, if you've got 350,000 views on Trustpilot, and our partners, sure.
Yeah,
It's just brands.
Wasted space though is all I'd say in terms of the layout. Like
very less is more. Maybe.
I don't hate that, to be fair.
It's got a little video. Okay, and then we get like this part. If you're not convinced, it's got other stuff. FAQs. I don't hate it.
Honestly, I really this is like one of the better ones that we've ever seen.
So much better.
There are definite like changes that you can make, but like to be fair, like not too bad.
No. Yeah. Oh, and let me zoom out a tiny bit. Oh, fit to window.
I mean, the CTA is a little bit deep, and the chat's
thing,
over it.
That would it because also I'm actually surprised it hasn't done it. But often they like pop up halfway through, and it is. If you're going to ask me, my biggest marketing pet peeve is people who think something feels like, hey, by the way, while you're reading something, it's an effective thing. There's a special place in hell for you.
Nothing makes me rage quit faster than a pop-up chat box.
Yeah. I don't. The thumb zone is a little bit higher, so
yeah. That'll be covered by the thing browser bar.
Yeah, it could be covered on, and also like if we go to iPhone SE, which is a lot,
which is me.
Like you can't see the CTA, so it should be a little bit higher up, and but honestly,
and again, that text is quite texty.
Yeah.
But this
yeah.
is like the smallest like gripes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like this is not like a huge like if you change that text, you're not going to get like 50% higher conversion rate. Like that's just not what's going to
Yeah.
happen.
And then we do
Oh,
have the
wow.
multi-step form, which we're
Look
going
at
to very
that.
quickly engage with. I think postcode is reasonable-ish. So Holly?
I'm saying it's straight to postcode is quite unusual for
Yeah.
a YouTube form. But
I
it's
feel
see
like British Gas, yeah, like they just don't mess around, do they? They're like,
Yeah.
we're so important.
But I do quite like
Yeah,
they flip in that are we installing in your area? It's not tell us
Yeah.
about you, tell us about us. It's quite
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, agreed. I think it's very, and you do see it a lot in home industries more. You see it a lot more for like these home providers. It's a lot more. Okay, you can see all answer options. However, it is not clear that those are all the answer options. I also other/unsure is necessary here. But oh, okay. Are you the homeowner? Yeah. I mean, this is fine. I would like a CT radiators. Oh, we don't like. Oh, you can't see it. I click on
No.
it, but it goes to like I mean, it's up to 25 radiators. Whoever decided that might be a
Jeez.
necessary. Maybe bucket. Okay, so like there clearly is some bit of work here, but we're not gonna
Yeah.
go too deep into this because we've got other pages, but not terrible. It's fine. I like the fact that the steps. I want to test this step approach a bit more.
Yeah,
And
I'm
a
liking
nice
that
long
too.
question set as well. And we're seeing them more and more.
Yeah. Little explainer
Yes.
there. Little explainer there.
Yes.
Ooh, it's not great.
Ooh, everything together.
Yeah.
20 to 30% more leads if you just
Yeah.
split out those contact details. Everyone should be doing
Yeah.
it. It's the easiest thing to
It
do.
is free money.
There is no reason to have everything on the
Yeah.
same page.
Yeah. And also at this point, like they already know why they're doing it. Like that this is not. Yeah. And title, please. Okay, you've disappointed us, British Gas. But honestly, again, not bad. I think
Really
that, like,
solid.
yeah,
They went
really
out the
solid.
gate real strong.
Yeah.
They just sort of,
All right, next
fizzled
one.
out at the end.
Hive do smart tech for the home. They do like renewables, stuff like this. They're up and coming competitor. Sure, reject all this time. Competitor. I have an immediate pet peeve here, but thoughts and emotions, folks.
I want to know your pet peeve. Sorry.
I was going to assume is it the fact that the writing goes over the image because there's so much great.
It's so much harder to read. It's just like I get what they're going for, but just like that. It like do the British Gas thingy. In fact, I can't believe this. We can't believe we're using them as
British Gas.
I did not see this coming. I thought the competitor brand was, but let me go out of mobile. Share the step. There we go. That much more legible than this. So Hive, take notes.
Yeah.
God, and it keeps but at the same time, big old headline, nice and easy to read. Upgrade to airsoft. I mean, it's not telling me why to upgrade, but switch
it's
to
got
low
heat
carbon.
pump. It's got Hive. Like it's got
it's
so
saying
they
the
can do
product
some of the
name.
elements that you need. That you want.
And governmental grant. So they are all mentioning grant. Say okay. Now underneath here, you say you have the savings. That's the wrong place for that. Sorry. Get the guest price. Poorly structured because you're flicking through this part. Like you're not lingering on the floor part underneath. That's
Yeah.
Why choose?
So it's just that repeated.
Yeah. Get quote 3 easy steps. Oh, a bit of animation. That was
it's only
fine.
3.
Oh.
Yeah.
Even
cute.
better. Cool. Okay.
Oh, there you go. That's like a little bit of social proof that we got going on there. That's good.
Wait, where?
British Gas. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes, I see what you
installation
mean.
by the wait, where? Just those 2 massive cards with like logos in them. But
Well,
I mean
I think wait, what? That's a good point. I think if I'm going to wait what, they should have better social proof.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure if installing it by someone else is being like trust us. I think it's more like trust them. Like,
100%. They're just piggybacking. They're fully piggybacking off the back of like British Gas and Glow Green. Like
if I click on this, they pretend to be clickable links. They are not clickable links.
Well, yeah,
so, like,
British Gas.
That's the
thing
have them
because
go to British
now I
Gas
want
to the better one.
buy it from British Gas, which have done a really good job at convincing me. I like this. This is great. This is visualizing the savings. This is like making the value tangible. Holly, do we think this is persuasive?
It's all right, yeah.
I think if you've got a brain that appreciates something like that, that's definitely persuasive. See, I look at a graph and no, I mean, depends on what it is. Like, if it interests me, I will look, but I'm not interested in.
Half price energy with the heat power tariff, so you save money regardless. It's pretty cool. So, like, also, this is quite a cool benefit.
It's not obvious, is it? Like, when I see that graph, I don't think that's got anything to do with saving me money. Like, my brain doesn't look at that and go,
yeah,
really?
You know what I mean?
That 100% fully agree. I look at that and I'm like, okay, wait, I've got to figure out what this is trying to tell me.
We have such
it says half price electricity, but I don't know anything about electricity. Do you know what I mean? Like, at all.
You've got one.
It's magic to me. It just happens. I don't know how. But yeah. But I still, it's a nice little set. It's definitely something unique that you can have. Want to know more?
Just saying that video is too large for this because of the thingy here, so that's been poorly designed. But also, by the way, see, that's legible. If you put that white text over there, no longer legible. So anyway, okay, moving on. Sorry. Benefits, that's fine.
It's a little bit just kind of pictures.
Now we're talking about the grant again. I think we should be having the grant higher up. The grant was compelling. We should have cost savings as well. Yeah. The app, no one wants an app. Sorry, but, I'm not sure if it's compelling. It's fine. No, but no one wants an app. But yeah.
I have so many apps. Everything has an app now. Oh my goodness.
Everything has an app. It's just exhausting. It's
you
just
go to the
exhausting.
Restaurant, like, you've got to download an app to have like a starter or something. You're like, oh.
Yeah, so this has been clearly designed for mobile first. Well, I assume so, because this is slightly more legible. This is, again, I don't like it over
That's
the image.
Quite. But... what size is that text, that font there?
Great question. It should be. It's 18.
18. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
It just looks small because there's so much. That access to this is 14.
14.
Probably
too.
It's a bit.
Mobile jail 16 minimum.
Yeah.
I like that you have the three like benefits kind of like right there, but it's all not very legible and it makes it really difficult to look at.
Agreed.
This is also again, quite confusing and competing. Like, I don't know there's a lot going on in that.
No.
Yeah. Yes, I am my own home.
I don't think this one. I think the British Gas way of saying it was so much more compelling. I really want to. We're just adding that to the testing pipeline. Are we active in your area? Postcode.
Yeah.
I really like that phrase.
Yeah, I do too.
We might have just found 5% across every vertical. God, that's huge. No, genuinely, but that's genuinely.
That is so good. It's sort of like the what number, like, where can we best reach you on? Instead of just like, what's your number? Like, it's just, not quite the same, but sort of a nice thing.
They've copied the question set, I assume. I'm not sure. Again, there should be an other / unsure. Like, because I have AmazingNet, so none of these. And no. Can you see? Yeah.
Up to 40. Who has
up to
40 radiators?
I don't. You know what though? I am actually going to go count all of them, and so I get the precise number of radiators, because that's clearly the most important thing I should be doing right now in my life.
Yeah.
So, Hive.
We need to bucket those.
Yeah.
Like, don't copy everything from British Gas, but maybe copy some of the design points. Yeah.
I have 2 radiators.
Oh my god, we're almost out of time. Okay, Heat Geeks, classic lead gen. We've got 2 minutes. Oh, jeez. Share this tab.
Let's go. Oh wow, look how cute he is.
It's cute.
He comes down the Heat Geek way. He comes to my certified geeks. I mean, this is very cutesy, isn't it? To be fair.
It's working on me.
Over there.
Yeah.
No, but like it's got friendly faces. These are the blokes that are gonna do it by the right people.
These are the ones. Yeah, these are the ones that are talking to you on your level. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You know what? Which trusted?
I like
Bloody
that. Which
hell.
trusted
that's-
trade is
Yeah.
really important. That's a huge logo to
So,
have. They should
Are
probably
these
set
not
it
a
up bit
classic
further.
lead gen then? Are these an actual brand? I mean, God, am I being convinced by this? I need to see the about. God, the about they're an actual brand.
Yeah.
Jesus, they've turned lead gen into like a brand, which again, it's the point often. But like, wow, what a good job! I assumed it
Yeah.
was a classic lead gen because like, this
Get a
is.
personalized estimate in seconds. Oh, I like
I mean,
that.
do we
Instead
know
of it
someone that
takes a
works here,
minute.
Holly, or something? Like, it's an XMBF over
Oh,
here.
that's so
What's going on?
cute. I love that.
Bloody excellent.
Oh, that's
That is good.
amazing.
I mean,
Space
that
for
was
a
an
heat
excellent
pump.
loader. Excellent loader.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
This,
I had a really fun time with that.
It-
It's a lot of
yeah,
text, to be
It's
fair.
also
it's too much
like
text.
the sizing
Yeah.
is wrong. Like my eye goes to space for a
Yeah.
heat pump. I'm not even aware there's a question beneath it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100% agree.
And also, like, that was the question. So why are we asking it again? And then Maurice said, no. Stop adding
just get rid of all
uncertainty.
of that
And
and
yes, no, unsure. And also, if you're going to click on one of them, don't make me click continue
just
next. Like, that
we
outrageous.
don't need the double click.
I mean, okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
That excitement has drained from your voice.
It has. I mean, but they were doing so well. Like,
Honestly,
could-
that loader was
they could-
fantastic.
yeah, that was excellent. Yeah, so I take it all
Estimated
back.
price. Wow.
I mean, this is quite a lot. I mean, okay, it's giving me a
You do an
price.
actual estimate, which is unusual.
Yeah, and it's actually, by the way,
Yeah.
pulling in my actual, like, so that's right, by the way. Like, they've pulled that from
What?
an API because there's
Oh,
like real estate
wow.
APIs. That's not bad. Like, they've clearly done a good job of this. Yeah, I don't
That's really
think
interesting.
took 250
40
design
pounds.
controls. Okay, I'm not sure about that. Average annual save. Wait, what?
Yeah.
40
Why would you get a heat pump?
Yeah. Let me just
Sorry,
invest
maybe don't tell me that.
£4,000 to get
Yeah.
£40 return. Minus 20.
I have a feeling this
What?
calculator may not be working.
I hope not.
God, apparently I'm very right not to have a. Guys, you're not
you're
selling
doing it.
this.
Oh, there we go. £70. Octopus.
I mean,
I don't really understand it.
I mean, yeah, that's put us
Yeah.
off getting a heat pump.
Yeah, this is super confusing.
they were doing so
And
good.
look, the CTA now says book £250
Yeah.
design consultation. I mean, obviously, probably they're going to have to do that so people are aware. So it's not like by the way, but
Well,
also
they probably
like
do it
that's
because
steep.
yeah,
is
and I will say like I can't imagine that. I mean, maybe that's a vital part of the business, but I would assume that's to
Yeah.
make sure people actually go through with the thingy. But this seems
Yeah.
too,
Far too
like,
steep.
yeah, there are other ways to make people like put in a tiny bit. Yeah. So started off incredibly strong. Like,
Yeah.
wow. Like
Incredible.
really. Oh, yeah. Smashed it.
Yeah.
This is great. Whoever's doing this part, killing it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The next part, not quite there. Shame. Disappointment.
Yeah. I can't believe British Gas are doing so well.
I did not expect coming into this. It's nearly always the legacy player sucks. Scaling competitive is really good, and the lead gen is just like trashy, but clearly converts like nothing else.
Yeah.
Well,
Look at that.
the more you learn.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
thank you so much, Holly. It has been refreshing to have some fresh blood, fresh meat, whatever, fresh person, however you want to say it.
You're so fresh. That's all we want to. We just.
Like, what is it after fresh? It's fresh meat. There's a TV show.
I don't know. It's
It's been amazing having just someone with us. And you've been incredible with very valuable information. So thank you so much.
thank you for having me on. It's been fun. Yeah, let me know if I have any further questions I can provide more information on.
Well, if you guys
Pandora's
have
box now.
questions,
Honestly,
Yeah.
send them in. Yeah,
like in 10 minutes, but I forgot to say this.
Yeah.
I will so
Awesome.
happily do a set part 2. Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly.
This was yeah. So couldn't be happier. This was genuinely fascinating. I mean, this was a real masterclass. So thank you for your time and your expertise.
Yeah.
And I will say, comment the void. If anybody's
Yes.
still watching, no one has ever commented the void, by the way, Holly. If you ever want to make our day, comment
literally
the void, because
every time we
we ask
do
every
this.
podcast. No one ever does. So no one
Okay.
watches to the end. Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll have a lovely week, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you
It's
next
been a
week.
pleasure. See you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.